Ladies and gentlemen, it's another episode of the show that absolutely cannot stop. Dom, what's going on?
Adam, whole lot of nothing's going on, bro. I mean, we're here, bro. What the fuck else is going on besides this?
Right. This is just another episode of Two Detroit Nerds back at it again. We got some great stuff for you guys. The first thing I want to get off my chest right before I forget is we haven't done a video game thing in a while.
Yeah.
We haven't really broke down a new game or even really talked about just any title besides Call of Duty in a little while. So
yeah, what's worth it?
I want to take us through a new game that's got a lot of people talking, and it definitely got me talking, got me thinking about something, and I want to present something to you, Dom.
Let's get it.
The game is called xDefiant. Right now, it's free to play on pretty much every major platform, cross-play enabled. It's got all the, little perks and kinks that all of you psychos that only play, these FPS,
arcade shooters,
fast twitch, Adderall shooters. Now you have a new one to play, and it's called xDefiant, and it's made by Ubisoft. I was really excited when I played the beta for this game, just because when I first heard about it and I saw some screenshots, I was like, this looks kind of boring. Looks like a Call of Duty clone. Right. But then I actually got to play the beta and I was like, shit, this has a little bit of potential. It's a little bit faster. It's got the appeal of an older COD.
Yes. 100%.
It's got that feel. But then I played the full, release and I noticed what was going on. And it was like, oh my God, I forgot who's really behind this.
Yeah.
So
the company that comes off is I got some of the best games of all time, especially from my trailers and initial drops, and then the game comes out. We really get to see everything behind the scenes.
And the thing is I've been trying to understand, what has Ubisoft learned over the last decade?
Nothing.
I thought so, Dom. And that was what I was thinking when I played that beta, because I was like, this is all right. This is just good enough to play. And I was like, is Ubisoft really going to tell me that they've released all of these titles, branched out into all of these different genres, and they're still not going to, put all of that information together and possibly create a new project? I always thought that was strange, but now I see what they're doing. So what's the best way to make sure that you're going to create a dynasty level video game? Well, I'm going to start with that, Dom. Like, what do you think the first step is to making a game that in 5 years, maybe the biggest possible thing you've ever heard of, like Fortnite level? How do you start that process?
I would say in this case, take everything that's good from any other game that you could compare to this in terms of being an FPS,
right?
And add all these features into your game, but at the same time, keep it simple and clean cut. Don't do too much with your game. Do just enough for what everybody usually is coming to the game for. That's what I would say.
Right. And at first glance, like if a game like that came out that was trying to set itself up to be the next big thing, the first time you saw it, you might be a little bit like, all right, well, this is pretty much like every other game I've played. Another shooter, and the mechanics are perfect, and the customization's pretty cool, and wait, it's got all the things I like in every other game, but this is new. This is something completely new.
Yeah.
And I think that's what xDefiant's doing. Right now, we're just seeing the beginning of the seed being planted. We're seeing the foundation being laid down. Hey, here's a fun game that we've been kind of skipping over this, but you said something so profound. A game that's playable.
Yeah.
A game that you can actually like play, like when you put your controller in your hands and you like press buttons and they actually react on the screen. It would seem counterintuitive, but actually a lot of games don't master that first step. So xDefiant did, is my point.
Yeah.
And it's not doing it in a way that's super revolutionary yet.
Yeah, because it doesn't need to right now.
Right.
It just needs to. Against. Look what else is out. They know how to play the long game with this, I feel like. And you bringing up the point of it being playable, which a lot of people should say, that's what every game should be. But like you said, every game is not. And it made me think in my head, because I've only played it a few times, maybe 4 or 5 times now. So I couldn't give my best opinion on it at this point, but it brought me to think about the fact that, when I turn on Call of Duty, it's like I have to prepare myself. I don't have to like go in the fucking firing range and shoot a whole bunch of dummies. When I say I have to mentally prepare myself because I know what is coming with this. I know what's coming with this. Like hackers, it's fucking sweaty ass, never leave the house 12 hours a day playing COD kids, you fucking rats, these stackers, all these things that COD has become over the years. With xDefiant, although I'll be the first to admit this, although I was getting waxed in some games, I never had that thought. It was not a
yeah, exactly.
Click, xDefiant opens, you know, then I'm getting ready to play it. It would, like the perfect example of what an arcade shooter is. I kind of already got that feel from that, even with not being that good at the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Call of Duty is labeled as an arcade shooter, but I would say like a very high level arcade shooter, just because I mean Call of Duty is one of the most played games ever. Yeah. And we've seen like the top of the top within Call of Duty and what exactly that means. And there's not really much that protects you from having to come across that. Right. Not that that's needed. I just like that this game went backwards, like I said, in terms of how an FPS is now. All FPSs usually have skill-based matchmaking. And for a long time, they claimed that was to even out the playing field, even out the game, close that skill gap, whatever. It backfired on them because it's too reliant on that now. A lot of matches you play, you can play 2 matches in a row, do really good, and then it's like demon lobby. Yeah, demon lobby. Yeah. xDefiant's not like that. At least from what I've seen. There's good kids in lobbies, but there's also, you know, it's fair. Let me say that. It's fair. Yes. That's what I'll say. That's what I like, that they're at least establishing that as a possibility. You know, because Infinity Ward, Call of Duty, Activision, they're not even going to tell you that that's possible anymore. They're going to just be like, hey, have fun. Here's our game. You're going to play it. Yeah, exactly. And I think xDefiant is at least trying to win us over with some goodwill, which you don't see. Again, like these sound like such low barriers, but I'm sorry, but this is where we are with gaming. And at least Ubisoft is trying to invent an environment where playing a video game is fun. Let's give them props for that. Yeah, I mean, it literally feels like old style Call of Duty with a much better player base now than what it was then. That's exactly what the game felt like. Like snipers, one shot. Some of the guns feel unbalanced, but that was something we were used to as well. That's nothing that's new. So I'm okay with that. I like the fact that all the maps are maps from other Ubisoft games. There's Division maps, there's Splinter Cell map, like there's Ghost Recon. Like I thought that was fucking awesome. That what a good way to, I hate to use this word, but like recycle some of your past work, but obviously put it to good use. They did a really good job with that. It's about time they did, because Ubisoft does have an incredible roster. They do. It's deserving of a game like this that combines those elements into something greater. And that was kind of what I was always waiting to see Ubisoft do. So I'm completely sold by this. I think it being free to play is just another reason why I think most people should be getting on this. If you're a shooter fan, like, make this kind of thing popular again. Make innovation in gaming popular again. Make gaming for gamers popular again. You know, like, not for consumers, not for people that are going to purchase things, but for people who are going to play the actual thing. And I think xDefiant at least set the stage for what could be in a year, 2 years, couple updates, couple DLCs later, like the biggest game out, for sure. No, I mean, even like right now, I have probably only 2 problems with the game personally. My first problem is, and this isn't as much of a problem because I'm understanding of how a rollout for a game goes, especially for free-to-play games. Right. Let's be real here. A free-to-play game, you, in very little cases, can you assume it's just going to come out at max level. It's exactly. Almost, I mean, purchasable games aren't even like that. So why the fuck would a free-to-play game be out, you know? But, there, you know, and this is a normal thing. You experience a little bit of lag, some hit registration, but these are all things I know they're going to fix, because online a lot of people are saying the same things. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, Ubisoft, don't make me fucking bite my tongue with this. I feel like they're actually going to see all that and do something to fix it. Yeah, I can tell that they're trying to get feedback from the community. They want it, right? Yeah. So my second problem with it, Ubisoft, you guys got to fix this shit. The crossplay and like the friend to friend program that they have in it is through Ubisoft Connect. Yeah. Get rid of that shit. You got to go make a Ubisoft account, have your username, then remember your username, which isn't a hard thing to do, but how many fucking usernames do we have nowadays? 6 million. Yeah. So you got to do that, type that in. Hopefully you type everything right, this uppercase, this lowercase, this letter, this, that, whatever, and then you have it on your friends list, and then boom, you're in. Like, I would have much rather it been like, like Call of Duty style. Call of Duty, you didn't have to really do that.
No, Call of Duty, you have to
do the Activision thing. You're right.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well, fuck you too, Call of Duty. Get rid of that shit.
We're so used to doing this type of shit for these other games, and that's why I was saying, like, when I first played it, it was pretty much doing everything every other game was doing, but it wasn't as good as some of those other games. So I was like, what's really going on here? But now that I'm seeing that what they're focused on right now is just fine-tuning the experience.
For sure.
Make it fun. Then we'll start to innovate. Yeah. Then we'll add things to it. So that was why I was like, all right, I'm gonna go with you guys on this, you know?
First impression, good impression for sure.
Definitely.
I'll give them that all day.
Definitely. XDefiant, we're gonna be watching for more.
We're fans.
Speaking of watching for more, there was something else that came out in this past week.
How are we who we are? And this is the first time we're talking about this.
I know. Well, last year you did bring this up.
Yeah.
The Elden Ring DLC has had its official trailer drop.
Shadow of the
Erdtree. And Dom, I mean, you've been on the case with this for a year now, so tell me how it felt finally seeing this release.
Bro, do you remember that feeling of being a kid? It's Christmas Eve. You just ate a good dinner. You want to go to sleep early this time because you know you're waking up to your presents, right? And you remember the 1 to 2, depending on how your family was, maybe 3 top of your list gifts that you asked for. Now, kids were very aware of things that they wanted badly, you know? It was like that feeling of waking up, not knowing what you got, maybe having an idea, and then when you walk out, you see something with your name written on it, and it is the exact box shape of what the fuck whatever you asked for comes in. Like in my case, like a GameCube, pair of shoes. You can kind of tell by how something's wrapped how big the box is.
Oh yeah.
And then you open it and that's exactly what it is. That is exactly how I felt when the first teaser dropped. That wasn't even
for real?
a full showcase of what the trailer came out with.
So you already kind of felt like this was exactly going to be the thing.
Oh yeah, bro. I mean, you've seen it, bro. There's just so many things that I have not played the game in a while because I'd already beaten it a couple times, and it doesn't make it not fun to me, but that's just how I game with certain things. Like I can get back into it, whatever, no big deal. But that's going to be the reason why I start playing. It actually comes out next month, bro.
Yo, for real. Like it's literally about to drop.
Less than a month. We're talking within weeks.
Yeah. Well, what we got to do is we got to figure out how we can do a Let's Play. I know this apartment's probably cooked. I probably can't do it here because just our technology, our connection. We'd have to do it somewhere where we could do a hardline Ethernet connection. We'll have to figure out how to do it, but that's got to be for it because we've been talking about Elden Ring since this show started.
Yeah, since the start, bro. We have to. Like, we let ourselves down more than our fans that watch this if we don't do that. Honestly.
You know what we could do? What we could do is Allie has a gaming laptop, right? If we made it controller controls, we could maybe put it on her laptop, Steam, stream from there, and then we could put you on the stream, use this camera.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Put you in there, or put you out here, and then I can get an adapter for that, a Ethernet adapter, so we just plug the shit straight into the shit. Yo, then we're zooming.
Yeah.
I think we should do it
guys, we've had this plan to do some like live stream type shit, and I can't see something better to do it with an Elden Ring.
Yeah, like first play. You know, like the first time you actually get to start it, we got to start it online. First reactions, talk about the game.
No seasoned vet Dom and Adam who already beat it and like, I know this item's over here. I know this is here. I know what to do against this boss. No, you guys are gonna see me get waxed like 30 times by some of these bosses, and I'm okay with that.
You're capping, Dom. You know you've been doing speed runs in prep for this. Dude, stop pretending.
I wouldn't. You know, I've spent my life doing lesser things with my time, but I can't do that, bro. I could.
What was the? Yeah, you absolutely could. What was the fastest you ever beat Sekiro? 5 hours.
Had to be my second playthrough. I've only played it through it fully twice because like everything is fine until the last boss. But dude, I'm like more than any other game that I have played, everything is fine until that last boss.
What? So would you say the Sekiro last boss is harder than the Elden Ring final boss?
Absolutely.
Okay, what
Elden Ring last boss? I'll give you plenty of reasons. First off, Elden Ring's last boss is 2 phases. Sekiro's is 4.
Damn.
You have way more of a variety of things that you can do in Elden Ring. Sekiro is like here's the path for Elden Ring, like this big of things that are possible to do to beat whatever. Sekiro is like this. Like you literally have you do not change your main weapon. Your sword stays what it is.
Oh,
what you upgrade in is like your attack power, and then you have something called a prosthetic arm, which is another weapon you can use, which is useful, but is your main things you rely on are your sword and your parry. Let me just say that.
yeah.
So what makes the Sekiro boss harder is, first and foremost, there's 4 phases to that. You verse one guy, and then you end up finding out the dude is the grandson of this holy saint warrior, and then after you kill the grandson, goes to a cutscene and he reincarnates through the guy's body, and then he comes back and he has 3 phases, and each one of his phases change. Not like an Elden Ring change where it's like, oh, some new attacks come out, that's about it. No, his change is like, oh, when I first come out, I have my sword that I'm using for this whole phase. Then you kill him once. Then he comes back. He gets a fucking long-ass staff with lightning attacks. You kill him a different time. He has the staff now and a gun that shoots like crazy. Like, it is insane. It is insane.
In feudal Japan, he does. He
literally has like a what's it called? A gunpowder, like
Oh, a musket. Oh, okay. I thought he had like a.
But it's like a pistol.
Glock 30
yeah, just
with a drum mag. I thought he was gonna walk you down in the last round.
Oh my god, no! But and then outside of that, bro, it's a lot harder because you have to play by the way that Sekiro is designed. Whereas in Elden Ring, you can play by your choice to an extent. You can play to your choice. You can go through and just do magic. You can go through and just do melee weapons. You can go through and just do an arrow run. You can go through and do a combination of all those. A lot of those fights, you can just get on your horse. And there's so many different ways you can fight in that. And then this, good luck if you try anything else besides what it's intended for. That's all I can say.
Let's do top 3 most difficult bosses in Elden Ring from Dom's perspective.
So from my playthrough, my top 3 toughest bosses were, for context, I beat Elden Ring before any patches came out.
Okay.
After a lot of patches came out, a lot of these bosses became easier.
Okay. So you played it when it was actually impossible.
Yeah, like as soon as the game came out, that is the only game I was playing. I was not playing anything else. So my hardest bosses were definitely Melania.
Mm-hmm.
Malekith.
I hear that one. That's pretty much what everyone says.
And it's got to be the last boss. And let me tell you why a lot of these fights I had were hard, as opposed to like whatever I had seen other people doing at the time, outside of anybody being better than me at the game. So these games work a lot on the AI of the boss itself. So like me and you can go through, get to a boss at the same time, have the same exact build, same level, everything. Your boss fight is going to be different than my boss fight. Like a perfect example is, have you ever, when you were playing the game, or if you ever seen anybody else that played it, they'll go through, right, first or second try on a boss, they get that boss down to like a hit or two from what they were doing, but then they die and they're like, oh, next time I come back, I'm about to just do that same exact thing because that seemed like it worked.
Right.
The boss shuts that shit down instantly. You can try all you. So a lot of it was that for me. I just kept getting like bad AI rolls, I guess you could call it, of the boss. I mean, maybe I just had to get good, as they say in the gaming world now, but
get good, kid.
Yeah, bro, because I whenever I've talked to people, they tell me sometimes, oh, I beat that boss in 4 or 5 tries. They could be lying, but like Malekith especially, dude, that shit had me raging, because a lot of bosses, they really turn up the difficulty in that second or last phase that these bosses have. His is like that from the jump. You literally, this is how it goes. You walk past the fog wall, right? And it's his first phase, so he looks nothing like his last phase at all. He's like this big ass beast that's in like a monk's robe, almost, it looks like. And he's on all 4s. And he dude, you literally walk in, his name pops up, the music starts playing, right away, dashes towards you. There's this attack, you can get it too. It's called Rock Sling or something. Or maybe it's Beast Claws. Maybe it's both. And it just throws these projectile rocks at you, right? So I'm running in. I'm like, oh, bad. I'm about to call in my summon. I'm good. No. As soon as I hit my button to call in the summon, boom, I get hit. Boom, he rushes me. Boom, boom, boom. Dead.
Damn.
Literally my first 5 or 6 run-throughs of that kept happening. I couldn't do shit. So I was like, well, well, fuck, let me try something else. So I would just get in, try to run around him, do the same thing.
Yeah.
Just get knocked off the map. And then finally I get past the first phase, right? And I'm like, bet, you know, I'm just thinking that's the boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
The cutscene starts playing. I'm like, oh no. Literally turns into, like, to me, one of the most badass looking bosses in the game.
Yeah.
And ups the difficulty like 3 or 4 times. He now has a different projectile that hits you for more than just the initial physical damage. It's got like this burn effect with it.
Damn.
He fucking jumps in the air, does like multi flips, slashes down, hit on the area attack. He's fat. Like, bro, I was just like, I almost felt that complete feeling of defeat. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna be at this.
Yeah, that
at the time.
There's no other game that makes you feel that other than Elden Ring. I feel like in the most visceral way, where you really are destroyed. You're just like,
yes,
there will never be a time where I can beat this boss. And the severity of like that realization, like the weight of that is like, this feels insurmountable. Yeah, you're like, I suck. I am nothing.
You almost at the point of feeling like this shit is happening to you, bro. Yeah. Fuck, bro. What am I supposed to do here? Like, I literally can't do nothing. But
yeah,
no, I mean, I'll definitely say like, it's hard for me to put my tongue on whether or not I had a tougher time with some of those bosses or Sekiro, because Sekiro is really just like, they you know, they have 3 bosses that I would say are equally as tough, if not more tough. It is more tough because you have to rely on timing so much more in Sekiro than you do in Elden Ring. Like, you cannot block during a boss fight during Elden Ring and be fine and win.
Damn.
You have to block, and on top of block, parry in Sekiro to beat bosses. It's like, I've never searched it up, but dude, if I ever go out and find on YouTube, there's a parryless game run through somebody does. There's no better gamer in the world, or nor will there ever be at that point. I promise.
So wait,
you
he plays all of Elden Ring without parrying one time?
Oh yeah, bro. There's people that do Elden Ring no hit runs. They literally beat the entire game without taking one sliver of damage. Madmen, bro.
There's
like
no
fucking
shot.
Psychos. No, they have it, bro. Full live stream. It's like, dude, probably like, I would say 20 hours. Maybe, unless they're speed running, which is just the main bosses, so it could probably be under 20. But I've seen videos of people that do it. I've seen videos of that level 1, no upgrading to your guy, no hit fights, and they just look terrible.
Well, I don't understand, how are they able to do any damage on some of the bigger bosses if they're at level 1? Because I've played, you know, Elden Ring enough to be able to say, if you are even like a level 4 and you try to go up against like a level 12, you know,
good luck.
You're gonna get killed in one hit. So how are they even able to make it far?
So as far as like the story bosses go, at least in the runs that I've seen, they'll do like, I don't want to say like things to make it easier on them, but like, for example, there's certain bosses you can get specific items for that do something that would help you out. Initially, it's intended to help you out like early in the game, like your first playthrough. For example, the first boss you fight, there's an item called, I think, Margit or Morgot. It's one of them two. They're the first boss. There's an item you can get at a very certain vendor, and it's called Margit, or it is Margit. Margit's Shackle, and it's a carryable item. I think it's got one use. During the fight, when you use it, it literally shackles him. It drops him to the ground for like only so long, but it drops him to the ground and like renders him like unable to do whatever he can do for like however many seconds it does. So in a lot of these playthroughs, this is what I usually see people do. They get buffs. So like there's certain weapons that come with buffs, certain items, all that. They'll go and like buff up their character right before they walk in the fog, walk in, and then maybe have an item like that, something, you know, and then they just go. It's just a long, grueling battle at that point.
Dang,
like a battle that would
chip away.
Yeah, they have to, but they chip away in certain ways, bro. They know exactly when to go crazy with their attacks. Like they know when to be very aggressive, and then they know when not to be. And because this kind of game, there's not many chances you get to be aggressive.
Right.
So they literally have it down to a T, but they'll go do it. And a lot of what I've seen also relies on weapons that have high stagger effects. So staggering, as you know, like when you deal so much damage within a certain frame, they like stop for a second, and then you can go and perform a critical hit. A lot
Right.
of those runs that I've seen
Right.
heavily rely on that as well, because otherwise you're about to be fighting one boss for like 6 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like I've been so bad at that game where normal shit takes me 6 hours. You know, it's like if I was purposefully playing at a handicap, it must be forever, you know, for some of those bosses.
I just like I said, bro, those are psychos. Those are psychopaths. You
Yeah.
know?
That's like a psychological problem at that
Yeah,
point.
like
It's
you,
not
you
even
need to be evaluated.
Yeah.
If you're going for that, and not only going for it, accomplishing that. If you accomplish that, you need to go see a doctor.
Yeah, that's not. We shouldn't be advocating or endorsing no-hit runs. Honestly,
No, bro,
that
not
shit's
for
dark.
that game.
Yeah, no, yeah,
And there's the ones for Sekiro too, bro, which is even more psychotic.
that's evil.
Yes,
That's
it is.
so
bro.
dark.
That's the devil incarnated.
So, was there? I feel like there was another thing about Elden Ring I wanted to bring up. Oh yeah. So, was there any place that you've seen that breaks down the lore of Elden Ring good, or actually like followable?
Like within the game,
Not even sure. Okay, we'll start there. Yeah, even within the game.
is for as much of the lore that I know, I would say, I think it's called Lindell, the capital. It's like it's like pretty far into the game. I think the capital is the area you end up being in at the end of the game, but when you first get there, it's not that area yet. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Lindell. There's there's so much lore included in that, from the bosses you fight there, the reasons that they're there. They have like even like the what's it called, the like the not the aspect, like just everything in your surroundings like just speaks a lot. There's like a lot of statues, a lot of things are destroyed. Like every little detail you see about this area, there's a reason behind it. Like whatever it is, even small shit. The soldiers, like the smaller foot soldiers that are there, like why they're all knights, who they follow. Like I said, the bosses that are there, who they are to the story. And the scenery, just everything about it. Like a lot of that area is super lore heavy, you know, like as opposed to like the first area. You're in a lot of like woods. It's a lot of open land. So there's only so much that actually attests to the lore in that area as opposed to other areas. But pretty much anything after the first area, you get a lot from, in the best way too. Like you can even be getting the lore and the idea of it without knowing that's what you're getting.
Yeah, because what I like about it is it's sort of non-linear type of storytelling. It's not really going to give you explanation. It's just going to give you facts about the world, which I think is super immersive and really is what makes it such a mysterious game.
Yes.
But I've tried then going like, okay, I like that within game, right? But then I try going online and I'm like, all right, well now I can just, listen to a YouTube video and they'll explain it in simple terms. That doesn't exist.
No, it's the opposite.
It'll only make it more confusing if you try to research what the fuck is going on.
It's like
in Elden Ring.
It's like the videos of dudes explaining like the Metal Gear Solid lore or fucking like Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts lore. Like you could watch it every day for a year, and after that year's up, you'll be like, what the fuck does this mean?
For real.
Literally.
But I love
Elden Ring's less on that list than they are. But.
Yeah, but Elden Ring definitely has that element, which I think is like a very Japanese thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
like,
super complex.
It's super complex, super layered, takes a lot of time to understand. It's almost like they wrote their own religion for the game. It's really like that, and there's something really mystical about how it holds character. You never see it break character. Everything is talked about in that game with this sort of reverence or whispered kind of importance, and you buy it because there's no other explanation other than little bits of pieces, that you're given. So it does make the game feel like there is this sort of sacredness inside of it, right? And that I think is super hard to do.
That's huge. Like you're used to seeing that within books.
That's what I mean.
Like strictly a book is where you would see anything of that level, but the thing that really speaks a lot about Elden Ring in that sense is like even the people who aren't super hardcore fans of the developers of the game, the line of their games, whatever, they even still feel that same way. Like, I've known people that have never played any Souls-like games, any Soulsborne games, and like even they have said the same kind of things that you and I talk about, people that I see online talk about, my other like anybody else. It's always the same thing, and that's one of very few games I can say that about. There are not many like aside from it being a super layered and complex storyline, and the lore is just you can just keep diving and keep finding out more. Outside of that, most people have that opinion about that game.
Yeah, it's definitely more than what you get normally from games now.
Yeah.
And even games that are somewhat comparable, like the Elder Scrolls series, Skyrim, things like that, they're not really touching the level of depth that Elden Ring kind of walks around very comfortably in.
Yeah.
You know, it's very vast and very, very deep. And just to feel like you're scratching the surface of it is an incredibly enriching gaming experience.
Scratching the surface. I just remember, like, you're bringing all these memories back up. Like when I very first played through it, you know, I'm a fan of, you know, if I'm playing a game like that, an open world, an RPG style game, I always like to see how big the map is.
Right.
Because that, to me, that means a lot. Like if you're within a small map, sometimes that can hold the game back in most cases.
Yeah.
So opening the map, that alone, had the whole game been what I seen initially, I was fine with that. I was like, dude, this is big as fuck.
Right.
And then I remember the first time going down to I think it's called Necron. Yes. And I made sure on my first playthrough, for the most part, majority of my first playthrough, I made sure to not like go through and look things up.
Right.
Just to get that real first hand experience.
Just
you know?
to stumble on it. Yeah.
Dude, there are very, very few gaming moments that can top me first finding that elevator. You know, I'm under-leveled for that time. I'm like, oh, where's this lead to, you know? I literally step on the platform, it starts lowering, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to bring me down from, like, here to here. Cool. No.
Nah.
It literally, I'm like, I got, like, nervous a little bit. I'm like, where the fuck am I going? And then you walk out, and it's literally an entire world under there. Dude, it made the game that much better for me. And it didn't need to be. It didn't need to be that much better.
It didn't even need to do that. It would have been fine if there wasn't even an inner Earth in that game, but there was, like there is in this, you know, on this actual planet.
Yeah, guys.
But I think I want to just use this as like stuff that we cut because we need more content online. Sure. So we're gonna cut it here if that's cool.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
We're at 32 minutes. If you like this, please sure to like and subscribe. Also, check out our other content on all of our social media platforms. That's TikTok, that's Instagram,
YouTube.
Check us out,
Facebook, guys. Whatever you prefer, we're there.
We got all of it.
Yeah.
Another week, another episode.
See y'all.